Hey everybody, Shawn from Silicon Theory here, and this is the iPhone X. It's been 10 years since Apple shook up the mobile smartphone industry by introducing the original iPhone, and all of the advancements and innovations since then have led up to this. So, is this the best iPhone ever? Let's talk about it in our iPhone X review. To be honest, this was one of the hardest reviews for me to do since I'm an Android guy and have been since I converted from a BlackBerry Pearl back in the day, but switching to an iPhone, much less the X, was an interesting time to say the least. But I did my best to be as objective as possible so that you could decide if the iPhone X was something that you'd want to buy. So let's start with what I did like. The overall design, the hardware, including the display, and the build quality are fantastic. The camera is excellent and rivals even that of the Pixel 2, and the gesture-based interface on iOS 11 actually took me a lot less time to get used to than I thought. The design, size, and build quality are all things someone coming from an iPhone 6, 6S, or 7 will appreciate, since it's very close in size to those phones, but with a huge jump in viewable screen space. Even with the switch to a glass back, Apple's build quality is superb, and the device feels good in the hand and has a nice heft and weight to it. And with the glass back, you now gain wireless charging with the widely supported Qi standard. Good enough. The display is bright, sharp, and in general is just an excellent AMOLED panel. Whether watching video, browsing the web, or reading text, this display will get the job done. Whether you use the True Tone feature or not, this panel is accurate, crisp, and a pleasure to use. Now, you may have noticed that I haven't talked about the notch yet. And that's okay, you're right, but more on that later. That camera? Just wow. In good light, you get excellent shots. Low light or no light, you still get pretty good shots. And at that point, having the second telephoto lens with OIS included as well is just gravy. Plus you get the ability to have the portrait mode on the front camera as well as the back. Although the front-facing camera isn't as fantastic, and I don't generally recommend it. Gesture navigation in iOS 11 did not take me any time at all to pick up. I was actually kind of surprised how quickly I adapted to swiping up, swiping left and right, and half swiping throughout the entire interface. The quitting of apps is the only thing that feels a little bit inelegant and is clearly an afterthought to what was obviously a very well executed and well designed UX strategy. So at this point I may have given you the impression that I am about ready to switch from my Pixel 2 XL to the iPhone X. Not so fast. Let's talk about some of the things that I didn't like. Face ID is really kind of hit or miss for me. Battery life has been just okay, and the notch. Samsung's epic troll job of a commercial pretty much says it all for me, but let's dive in and unpack a little bit more of this. Face ID for me is at once both better and worse than Touch ID. Touch ID was so simple and intuitive, it was a revelation. Face ID is not bad.
What's not a surprise is Face ID works best when you're already looking at your phone. Like if you're in an app and you go to need to pay, bam, Face ID has got you. But when you're not in an app and you need to raise your phone to wake it, I found that it was really hit or miss. Like 50% of the time it would work, and 50% of the time I would have to enter a password again, which pretty much makes the point of Face ID moot. At this point, I really miss that home button.
While performance was fine for me, battery life was just okay. With the same usage pattern as my Pixel, I would get through a full day and get home with about 30 to 40% of my battery left, whereas my Pixel would get me through that same day with about 50 to 60% of the battery left. And if you use that awesome camera a lot, you're probably going to expect to get even less. Not what other flagships are getting, and certainly in line probably with what we'd expect from a first-gen product, but maybe not what we'd expect from a first-gen product from Apple.
Okay, so the notch. It's horrible. Let's just get that out of the way. It's bad, and I don't like what Apple did here, even though I get why they had to do it. Remember when I said watching videos on that awesome display was good? Well, the notch basically ruins the whole point of that display. It's jarring to the point of distracting me the whole time I've used the iPhone X, and while I've enjoyed my time with it, I've enjoyed it less so because of the display design choice that Apple made here. You might love it, or it might not bother you as much as it did me, but you need to know what you're getting into before you decide to buy this phone.
So what's the verdict? Can I recommend the iPhone X as something that you'd want to buy? I think the answer lies in not any of the things that I've already talked about, but the one thing that I haven't: the price. The iPhone 8 costs $699. The iPhone 8 Plus costs $799. The iPhone X costs $999. And I don't personally know that the iPhone X does anything $200 better than the iPhone 8 Plus. And no, I don't care about Animoji. I think the iPhone X is a good step forward for Apple, but it is just that, a first step. I say skip this year and see what 2018 iPhones may come and save your money for the next generation. That's our iPhone X review. Thanks for watching. If you liked the content that you saw today, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you love the content you saw today, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the upper left-hand corner that looks like our logo. We appreciate you making this far, and as always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk tech soon.